This is Coach Lee, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about what it means when your ex is silent. After a breakup, a lot of people will use the no contact rule. Maybe they've seen several of my videos that talk about the no contact rule, and I'll link to other videos like that in the description below. But a lot of people who use no contact will usually expect quicker results than are realistic. And so they go into it, and it's been, I remember one of the comments recently said that it had been 4 days and no word from their ex. And that is just way too early to expect anything. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. Sometimes people will hear from their ex with just a day or two of no contact because the ex just can't handle it and they start missing you and feeling all the things that I talk about in my video, the stages your ex goes through during no contact. And they'll go into these stages and they'll move through them very quickly. That's not always a good thing. The silence is actually a good thing. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Take a second and click the subscribe button below. That way you can be notified when I have more videos like this. And it's not just about breakups, it's about relationships in general, mindfulness, marriage, and success in life. So when your ex is silent after a breakup, a lot of times it's because they are in stage 1, which is where they have broken up with you and they're in the relief period. Now, sometimes an ex right after a breakup will go through sorrow and a depressed kind of condition where they're sad that the relationship is over because they invested a lot into it and they care about you as a person. And so they're worried about you, that they've hurt you, or they're thinking that they wanted this to succeed, they wanted this relationship to last, but for whatever reason, they feel like it's not in their best interest at the moment, that they don't see a future with you right now. It's okay. You want to approach this as understanding that at the moment, your ex does not want to be with you. That's just something that you need to work on accepting with the understanding that it can change. It can change. Just like at one time, your ex thought that they wanted to be with you forever, you can see how feelings can change, decisions, people, these things can change. And that's why your ex now says they don't want to be with you. Of course that's what they're feeling, or else they wouldn't have broken up with you. But you have a good chance of getting them back if the relationship was a good one. And of course, I will usually get the question, well, if it was a good relationship, then why would this person break up with me? What I mean is that before the breakup, it was good. That way, when your ex does reflect, when they do think back on this relationship, they will have good things to think about. There will be some attractive things about this. But in the relief stage, your ex is not focused on you, which is the exact opposite of what you are doing. You are focusing on your ex, the relationship, you're hurting. This is at the forefront of your world. It's all you can think about. It keeps you up at night. It's the first thought that you have when you wake up in the morning and you think, could it really be true? Could it really be that bad that this person who you love has left you? Maybe even said that they don't love you anymore in that way. That they love you, but they're not in love with you. It's probably something you've heard. In the relief stage, however, they're focused on other things. In a lot of ways, they're trying to experience maybe some of those things that they could not when they were in the relationship. Maybe they feel like they can go out with their friends now, or that they can maybe go on some dates with other people, which is certainly not something you want to hear or think about, but usually it's temporary. It's sort of a liberating moment and time for your ex, simply because in their mind, they are now getting to go out into the world. They're getting this freedom that they didn't have, even if they weren't necessarily just seeking freedom from a relationship. It's still something that will seem attractive to them at the moment and something that they should be doing. That's what it will seem like. And they will be experiencing relief from getting the breakup over with because it was a difficult thing. They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to hurt you. Nobody says, I can't wait to go dump this person, unless there's been cheating or meanness, fighting, yelling, that kind of thing. But if it was a good relationship, then they are not excited about telling you that they don't want to be with you anymore, because that would be cruel. And so it's very unlikely that they felt that. They are relieved that they got past that, and they think that they're going to move on to the future and they're going to experience life in a different way or a better way, or to find their destiny, something like that. But relief is usually temporary. It's then that if you are silent, you don't reach out to them, that you can actually slow them down from heading away in their heart and their mind. A lot of people fear that no contact will actually help them move on, but the opposite is usually true, because if they don't hear from you, first of all, it's a little bit unexpected. Second of all, if this person experienced intimacy with you, which means they shared deeply personal things with you and they got to learn and to hear deeply intimate things about you. They were naked in front of you, not just physically, but emotionally. And they felt this connection and this intimacy. Even if they think that the breakup is the best thing for them, they will still feel the void. They will still feel the emptiness of not having that intimate connection with you anymore. And that's where your silence can make this thing into a boomerang, to where your ex starts to go out this way away from you, and there's this strong pullback, almost as strongly as the speed at which they left. The silence is necessary because we want your ex to learn from this. And I don't mean that in some sort of a punishment way, even though some of you may view it that way. It's fine, it's your business. But what it is that you have to give another person the opportunity to learn your place in their life. It's very important. And this applies to more than just relationships. This applies to work, to friendship, to other roles that you play in life. It doesn't mean that you are cruel to the other person, or that you're mean, or that you really try to prove a point to them. It simply means that when you are not welcome in someone else's world, you must not try to force yourself into it, because you will be taken for granted and you will be seen as a nuisance. You certainly don't want to be seen as a nuisance to your ex. Annoyance is like kryptonite to attraction. It is the last thing that you need to do. You need to show that if you do not feel welcome, that you have the inner strength, the maturity, and the social awareness that you will not force your way in, that you are able to go on your own if necessary. And that's where they can learn so much, because you don't want this to happen again. You don't want this breakup to happen again. If you get back together with your ex, as is the plan, which is the mission, the goal of these videos of mine is to help you get your ex back. And if you get them back, you don't want to go through this again. And right now, you might not be thinking about that. You might just be thinking, getting them back at any cost, and I'll worry about all that other stuff later. And I get that. But at the same time, you can kill two birds with one stone here, in that when your ex learns the lesson, which the silence brings, when they learn that lesson that they want you in their life, that they miss you when you're not in their life, that they wonder about you, why are you not reaching out? You see, the mystery is more powerful than having the answers. When you have the answer, you actually have relief. You aren't searching. But when there's mystery, there's preoccupation, there's anxiety, there's curiosity. And as you've probably heard me say before, if you've seen any of my other videos, curiosity is a precursor to attraction. And so the silence doesn't just teach them that they miss you, but they also experience this wonderment, this mystery, this curiosity. What is going on with you? Because if your ex is like most of them, and they probably are, when they broke up with you, they got an ego boost from it. Even if they're a sweet, kind person, they still had an ego boost from breaking up with you, because at the heart of it, they're saying, you're not good enough for me. Now, they would not admit that, most likely. But that's probably part of what they feel. They couldn't even necessarily put it into words. But it feels like that they are dismissing you, that there's something better out there because they deserve better, and that you don't deserve them. Now, I know they may have said things to the contrary. They may have even said, I don't deserve you, that's why I'm breaking up with you, which is nonsense. Most of what you hear when they break up with you is total and complete nonsense. It's just something they hope you won't argue with, just so that you'll get some sort of closure from a reason. But the key to the breakup is a drop in attraction, as I've explained in other videos. If your ex was attracted to you enough, and there wasn't some collateral circumstance that was preventing them, they would be with you. If they're attracted to you, they'll be with you. If they're attracted to you enough, they will not break up with you. So attraction fail, and that can be because of those issues happening over weeks, months, or years that lower attraction, and you can't get back in the snap of a finger simply by saying, I'll change these things. It's sort of like, as I've explained before, it's like if you were at a party and someone who was very unattractive to you physically came up to you and said, I would be a wonderful girlfriend, or I would be a wonderful boyfriend because of this, and they named all their wonderful qualities. If you're being honest, you would not instantly be attracted to them, because there's still the matter of your first response, at least, was that they were unattractive, that you were not attracted to them. Now, that's not being shallow, that's just being human beings. You have eyeballs, and they are the front door into your heart, in that the person has to at least get a foot in the door before the other things can happen. So physical attraction is natural. Don't feel badly about it. And it's just for that example. But what I'm saying is that when attraction has dropped, promises of fixing things, though they may sound better than not, it does not instantly increase attraction, at least emotionally speaking. Physically, if this person was with you, then they were physically attracted to you at some point, at least to where you were attractive enough in their mind that they could become attracted to you emotionally, that door was opened. So it didn't happen overnight, and it won't be remedied overnight. But when your ex sees your place, they learn from it. And so if you do get back together, you use the no contact rule, and you use other strategies like what I talk about in my emergency breakup kit, which you can get more information to in the description below. It's called the emergency breakup kit, and I also have the emergency marriage kit for those of you who are married. But when and if you two get back together and difficulty comes up, or attraction starts to waver a little bit, which sometimes it will. Now, hopefully, if you're able to correct those things, grow as a person in emotional strength, intelligence, and physical attraction by taking care of yourself, eating right, exercise, just things that we need to do to be healthy anyway. If you do those things, hopefully those will be few and far between when attraction may wane a little bit. But most relationships will experience occasional drops in attraction. When that happens, we want your ex to have learned the lesson that silence brings, which is they don't like your silence. They want to hear your voice. They want to see your face. The only way they can learn that is if they don't. Now, your ex's silence can also mean they are wanting that ego stroke. They're wanting you to be the one to reach out. Your ex may even start to want to get back together, but wants you to be the one to reach out. Don't fall for it. I have an older video where I talk about how your ex can trick you into breaking the no contact rule and reaching out to them. And they'll do this by maybe liking an image you post on Facebook or Instagram. And by the way, I'm on Instagram at Real Coach Lee. That's Real Coach Lee on Instagram. And they might like something or even make a little comment like, that's funny, or something like that. Now, the thing is that a lot of people are tempted. Should I contact them? Should I call? Should I text now that they've done this? No. It needs to be equal. So if they text you, yes, you can respond, because as I say in some other videos, you should not ignore your ex. That's a big mistake. And sometimes people will even suggest that, other coaches who really don't have much practical experience, and it's more of a gotcha type of game. Like, how dare you break up with me? I'm going to ignore you. It's not really practically effective as a strategy to reattract this person. It's just not. I've been in this for nearly 2 decades at this point, and I can tell you, based on professional observation of thousands of cases, it doesn't work. It sounds nice. It sounds strong. I'm going to ignore them. But what happens is that nobody likes being ignored. It hurts. It's an ego shot, and they are not going to keep banging themselves in the head over and over. A large percentage, after being ignored, will not reach out again. Another percentage will maybe reach out one more time. It's very rare it will go beyond 3. And even if it does, you still take a lot of risk, because they might hesitate going forward. It can set up the exact wrong dynamic, because it puts the ball too much in your court to reach back out. Because if they've thought, well, I reached out to them, And then you are in this weird role of trying to be in no contact, and yet they've reached out to you. So where is there to go? Because the idea of no contact is to attract them and have them reach out. That's how the dynamic works. And then you start rekindling the relationship. But if you don't reach back out, it completely defeats the purpose, and it makes your ex less likely to reach out because they don't want to be ignored. It's rejection. Nobody likes rejection. Most people hate it. And it will cause trouble in your efforts. So if your ex comments on social media something real simple like that's a funny picture or congratulations, that does not mean that you are to start texting them as though you're so excited that they actually made any kind of effort to participate in your world at all. It will look like you were just waiting for some little bitty breadcrumb. And then you were going to feed their ego. Oh, she still wants me back. Oh, he still is waiting on me. Because look at this, all I did was click like on one of their posts, and that was enough for them to text me and think there was a shot at this. Don't feed their ego. It's big enough already if they broke up with you. They see themselves as above you on the totem pole of attraction right now. You don't want to lift them even more. You want to bring them down a little bit. Might sound a little tacky, so be it. You want to show them you're not going to chase them, that you're not going to be so excited that they gave you some crumbs from their table and liked one of your pictures. If they reach out to you authentically and for real with a text or a call, that's one thing. But don't fall for those breadcrumbs. Don't fall for those tricks on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, where they just like a post or make a small comment. It's got to be a reach out, because their silence sometimes will be where they are trying to wait you out and they're wanting you to reach out to them and they're trying not to. And now we come into the interesting dilemma. A lot of people in comments on my YouTube channel, and you're welcome to make a comment below. You can tell me about your situation, and sometimes I'm able to get a response to those. Sometimes I refer you to other videos that are helpful, so feel free to do that. But sometimes people will say, what if my ex is doing no contact too? I've actually got a video on that. It's actually highly unlikely, because if your ex broke up with you, there's an understanding and a feeling that the ball is in their court. If it's not, if they think that you should be the one to chase them down and beg for them after they broke up with you, you probably don't want to be back with that person, because there's a potential that they are dealing with some narcissism. And I don't push that a lot. I think that that word's thrown around a lot. Just because this person broke up with you does not mean that they are a narcissist. Very little of the population actually would be classified as that. But if they break up with you and think you should be chasing them down, they just might be. But it's very unlikely that that would happen. Most of the time they understand the ball's in their court, and that's where the silence can help bring them to you and attract them back to you, because you don't fall for it, which makes them wonder, am I not attractive enough? What's going on? I thought that I was more attractive because I broke up with him. I thought that I was higher on the totem pole, but he's not chasing me. And it can actually flip the tables to where now they feel like they're chasing you to get that ego support back, to get that validation from you. And that's not the reason you want. But all of that is part of the game of attraction. I hate to use the word game, but some of this is a little bit gamey. You have to be smart about this. Now, when you get back fully with this person and the emotional connection and intimacy is restored, you don't want to play games. You don't want to be this coy, but you do want to be smart simply with how you present yourself. The relationship deserves it. You want to be as attractive as you can for this person, for the relationship. There's nothing wrong at all about that. You also want acceptance for the parts of you that you don't believe are attractive. And I'm all for that as well. And that will happen. But right now you're trying to get this person back. And they need to learn the lesson. First of all, that you are attractive and that you're strong. And that's what silence can teach them. Silence can also be that they're doing this because their friends are encouraging them to be strong. Maybe they've confided in their friends and said how awful you are or whatever. Again, it can usually just be temporary if you will stay silent and use the no contact rule, but their friends might be encouraging them to stay silent, and they're trying to do this to show their friends they're tough or to make their friends happy or their parents or whoever. There's all kinds of situations. But the silence is so important. Believe me, trust me on that. It may feel like you will get somewhere by reaching out to your ex, by saying, how are you? Some people even say, I just needed to know how they were doing. They're all right. You'd know it if something, God forbid, happened and they were killed. Otherwise, they're all right. That's just an excuse you're using. If we're being honest, if you're being honest, you're just trying to find a reason because it would feel so good to talk to them. But feelings can be misleading. It doesn't mean that it would be strategically effective. It just means you think it would feel good. And it might when you hit send. But 4 hours later, when there's still no response, or when you get a response where they just say, fine, thanks, you will realize you shouldn't have done that. You need to show them you can stay away. Get more information about my emergency breakup kit. It's in the description below. You'll see a link to the emergency breakup kit and to the emergency marriage kit. Click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified when I have more videos like this. If you like this video, click the subscribe button below so that you can see more of them. I truly wish you the best in this. Stay strong. The silence is powerful. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.